Okay, good evening and welcome to another edition of Iron Port here on Metropolitan Television. Iron Port is proudly brought to you in association with the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, the Ghana Revenue Authority, Goyle Company Limited, Serene Insurance, and the Ghana Link Network Services. They are operators of the Integrated Customs Management Systems, ICOMS. My name is Kennedy Mona, and remember, this show is also streaming live on our social media handles at Facebook and YouTube at Iron Port Ghana. The abridged version of the show will also be aired on Ghana Television GTV on Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Remember, you will get interactive with us via our WhatsApp line, which is 0559 019 177. The number again for our WhatsApp interaction will be 0559 019 177. Along the line, we shall activate our phone lines for you to contribute to the discussion here in the studio. I would like to acknowledge our media partner, the Business and Financial Times. Remember, if you grab a copy of the Thursday edition of the Business and Financial Times, you're going to be able to get all that transpired here on the show. We'll return after this short break.
And again, Goyle makes good things happen. This time, Goyle has introduced Super XP Ron 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. Goyle Super XP Ron 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. Goyle Super XP Ron 95 is designed to burn slowly and thus improves fuel economy, making you save money after several kilometers. Goyle Super XP Ron 95 gives you a smooth driving experience, that is, less vibrations. Fill up with Goyle Super XP Ron 95. Now there's no need to pay more for any higher grade fuel. Goyle has that sorted. Goyle, good energy.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Oh, how are you?
Hi Yvonne, a few words please. Everyone is talking about the fire at your production house last week. How are you holding up? Has production stalled?
No, not at all. My crew and everyone on my set is perfectly fine because I insure with Serene Insurance. As a matter of fact, I've had all my equipment replaced, including the vehicles that were affected. My workers have been sorted out. Even my production downtime has been covered. So it's all good. I have a meeting to attend to, so I have to get going. Sorry about that.
Which insurance company did you mention?
Serene Insurance, the new face of insurance, a member of First Sky Group.
You're welcome back. This is Metropolitan Television and the program is Iron Port. And today we're taking a look at the subject of clearance of cargo at the ports. How far have we come in our quest to get seamless clearance in the ports? Where were we and where are we now? That's what we're discussing tonight. But before then, there were some happenings within the maritime industry in the course of the week. I would like to go for those stories. One of them being the fact that the Ghana Maritime Authority held a forum with some stakeholders on the ratification of the Cape Town Convention. And also the Ghana Export Promotion Authority also launched the International Diploma program in the course of the week. Let's go for these stories, and when we return, we'll continue with the show.
Ghana is expected to, in about 6 months, ratify the Cape Town Agreement of 2012 under the auspices of the International Maritime Organization, which stipulates standards and best practices for fishing at sea globally. To this end, a forum on the ratification of the Cape Town Agreement of 2012 and the International Labour Organization Work and Fishing Convention 2007 has been held in Accra among key stakeholders of the industry to discuss and offer inputs for fruitful implementation of these international conventions. The Director General of the Ghana Maritime Authority, Thomas Kofi Alonsi, said the alarming rate of risk associated with aquatic and human life at sea has made it very necessary for global interventions to be adopted and implemented.
Fishing vessel operators, with the aim of maximizing profits, neglect the safety and maintenance of their vessels, indulge in illegal fishing, and underreport their catch.
Speaking on the sidelines of the forum, the acting director in charge of maritime services at GMA explained the scope of engagement.
From today, we move right back to the table to start working assiduously to have the cabinet memorandum ready for cabinet approval before subsequently submitting it to Parliament.
Dr. Kofi Mbia, a maritime consultant and former CEO of the Ghana Shippers Authority, also touched on the historical antecedents that have impeded a successful implementation of regulatory frameworks in fishing, especially in Ghana, and the way forward.
In fact, for coastal populations, about 1/3 of the population are dependent on fishing, both for food and also for employment. And therefore, many countries have dragged their feet over the period when you want to regulate a sector like that.
The Ghana Export Promotion Authority, in collaboration with the International Trade Center and the Institute of Export and International Trade, has launched a Diploma in International Trade program. This program is in furtherance of GEPA's core mandate of capacity building of the exporting community to broaden Ghana's export basket. The one-year online program is aimed at providing participants with opportunities to understand how to trade internationally, develop the capacity to manage, formulate strategic options, and define business winning plans in an international trade environment. The Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Exports Promotion Authority, Dr. Ifua Sabi-Asari, said the initiative is part of the long-term goals of re-engineering Ghana's educational system to reflect the human resource needs that would address Ghana's efforts towards an export-oriented, industrialized economy. She said such training programs will also equip local SMEs reorganized for competition within the African continental free trade area.
The expected outcome for the third pillar of the National Export Development Strategy is to have a substantial number of trained men and women actively engaged in businesses in the industrial export product and services value chains.
Deputy Chief Executive Officer of GEPA, Albert Kasim Durura, said the program was in 4 modules, adding that 21 students had already graduated from the first module.
We will also not just give them the tutorials, we will also take them out what we call on steady tour, where we will take them to places, maybe in the manufacturing firms or maybe the factories, where they will see the entire value chain.
President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has commissioned Phase 1 of the B5 Plus steel plant, an enterprise under government's One District, One Factory initiative. Located within the Ningo Pampram district, the $80 million factory with an installed production capacity of 250,000 tons took 2.5 years to complete and is expected to produce different qualities of metal and steel products. The second phase of the project will see an additional investment of $70 million with an installed capacity of 300,000 tons of mixed steel product. The Minister of Trade and Industry, Alan Kwadwo Tremantin, said such projects will go a long way to produce import substitution and retain money in Ghana.
Any effort that seeks to promote import substitution and develop local productive capacity to replace the imports is worth celebrating.
B5 Plus CEO Mukesh Tokwani urged government to continue to set in place deliberate policies that will allow the company serve the local market well and recover its investments.
Most importantly, we request the government to impose an across-the-board ban on certain finished imported products, like our dear neighbors Nigeria, Gabon and Ivory Coast have already done.
The president said the plant is a concrete manifestation of the new paradigm of economic development vigorously pursued by government since 2017. He revealed that the 1D1F initiative has created jobs for some 139,000 people countrywide and is expected to employ an additional 285,000 more Ghanaians.
This policy has the potential to absorb many more young graduates into well-paying, sustainable jobs within their district, municipal, or metropolitan areas.
So those were some local stories that happened in the course of the week in the maritime industry. We shall be coming your way much more later on the show with some international news. And one that you should be looking forward to is the fact that the authorities of the Suez Canal, have impounded the big vessel that blocks the canal almost a month ago, and they are demanding some compensation of $900 million. And so please look forward to that particular story in the course of the show. I will be introducing my guests to you in a while, but before then, we are supposed to bring you this week's edition of the GOIL TV Market. And remember, it's all about the products and services of one of our lead sponsors, GOIL Company Limited. And this week's edition features the Tantra Hills service station.
In the service of the nation, north, south, east, and west.
Say, we injectors here, we took off fuel, XP3 in a woman. It mean my injectors no, it cleaning in and the most important one is amount more mileage on your fuel. And asset every frat diesel. I say the asset in frat diesel anyone. That's the shake here. The walls of the tube no, a bit brownish. You compare XP3 additive against the other additives on the market. So we used to catch that's a one to fuel papa. So far contents now I work full of back in contact with diesel or super we used to kind of chat kind of in police and say pull but say we used to car for 5 years, 10 years. The fact say what to fit GOIL. To GOIL diesel XP, GOIL super XP what happens is we can we need problem. Yeah, the walls of tube that's all. I don't know. I clean. We should first one the walls of tube I clear. We should second one there's some maybe on. We should third one so I want to say walls brownish kakra. I just say the other additives and to me cleaning the walls of the tube it sounds when I say it wouldn't be able to clean your injectors. Test it is to establish one fact. GOIL's fuel is superior than even the base fuel is superior chain mama cano.
Diesel gamma, we are trying diesel gamma, but me shegu super car taxi car a juma pepe. But the hiane na hodeno. Obi waha ope high end oil la oduguni car a betche and sana with draining into ohana obeshe star API ya tro. It is a diesel gamma where I actually seed we elastic, let's say a maximum of about 2 months, and now we best say 3,000 kilometers. Your oil's now for 4.
And yes, be a mugina ventina necasa.
Okay.
Chevrolet matters, and I'm use 4 plots. Now, Saka no buy and Ubiaka say, we use to a 6 months, Nanjina say. A child the matters cars be brave, you have no Musianam to. In Canada, may make car engine a bit 3 years plus. Me top oil. And one of me used to me a taxi driver. Me think of a beer.
Go. Yes, I'm a piao. Nanka ye nimuda. Me, edu baby. Ye penny dodo. Ne dodo on a year queen you. As ye cheer will not butter. And rock rametoye. I'm young me cheer Philly. Many animal drivers for a book a cry difference in idea. Yen na the bad boy na engine and any cow na near drivers for any asumude mommy and sticky to that say no God say to ota would sika gumono now all sign book or feed no ban now pay now per day
you were typha you were from
yɛwɔ Achimota station no Konima ɛsoka ho ɛwɔ baby a enti no yɛhyɛ ma montɔbɔ go ɛna sɛ no yɛ service bebree no wokɔ sesa wɔ yi a ɛyɛ free wode afa oil na ana drum oil okɔ a yɛ ma wa ɛyɛ free
North, south, east and west, we always stand for the best.
yɛwɔ bi a wokɔ yɛ station biara na wotumi de usika to so na wotɔ fuel na yɛwɔ yi discount bi kora wɔ card no so yɛsan te so kora wɔ card no so wokɔ yɛ station biara yɛgye saa card no yɛkaade pɔgya deɛ montɔ yɛdeɛ why baasɛ mo a mo ne yɛ dibia na moyɛɛ no yɛbɛhyia mo na mada mo ase na yɛka kyerɛ mo sɛ wadeɛyɛ da biara tɔfi gu a yɛda ase yɛkyɛ mo adeɛ na yɛkyerɛ mo sɛ motade pa gol yɛfuɔ lɛtɔn no ɛne okurom a ɔmampanyin asogyafoɔ polisifoɔ nyinaa ka ɛde gu mu ade pa ne yɛwɔ kyerɛ obi adeɛ yɛboɔ so ɛyɛ ɛda bɔkɔɔ. We are the best and we are proud to maintain our leadership role. You see the van I'm standing behind? This van goes around our stations, checking the quality of our fuel from time to time to make sure that the quality that we sell is maintained.
Goil is good energy.
Okay, so welcome back. That was the Goil TV Market. Remember, it's all about Goil, one of our lead sponsors, and this was taken at the Tantra Hills service station here in Accra. Now, like I told you earlier, tonight we're discussing clearance of cargo in the ports, how seamless we've become, and there seems to be a general consensus by stakeholders in the industry that we've come a long way, we've come far, and that things are better now in terms of how we clear goods in the ports. My guest in the studios tonight to discuss this topic are Mr. Emmanuel Ohene. He is a Deputy Commissioner of the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority in charge of the suspense regimes and Chairman of the ICOMS Implementation Committee. I also have in the studios Mr. Yao Che. He is the President of the Association of Customs House Agents, ACHAG, Ghana. Association of Customs House Agents, Ghana, that's ACHAG, and he's also the CEO of Integral Freight Services, renowned freight forwarding firm here in the country. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Thank you very much for taking time off your busy schedules to join us. I want to begin with you, Mr. Ohene. When we say suspense regimes, what is it? Because you are Deputy Commissioner in charge of suspense regimes. Somebody sitting there is watching and will say suspense regimes. What's that?
Thank you, Ken, for the opportunity. Let me first of all extend my greetings to the Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority and the indefatigable Commissioner of the Customs Division, Colonel Kojo Damwa, and the team that has helped so far to bring ICOMS thus far nationwide. When we talk about suspense regimes, we simply refer to all customs regimes and processes on which taxes have been deferred. What I mean is that goods that are imported into the country that are not going to have their taxes exacted on them immediately, they all fall under the suspense regimes. So goods that are destined for bonded warehouses, goods that are imported by free zones companies, which virtually are deemed as companies that are not, completely under Ghana's jurisdiction. Right. That's the free zones company. You talk about temporary admission, goods that are imported into the country for temporary use, right, with the intention of having them returned. Then you talk about goods that are to be re-exported, that are imported into the country and then will be re-exported, to another country. Then you talk about transit, goods that, use the Ghanaian corridor to exit to their final destinations, which normally are beyond the borders of Ghana. Yeah. So these are all the kind of regimes that fall under the suspense regimes.
Okay. All right, thank you very much indeed. So let's zoom into the topic proper today. Seamless cargo clearance at the ports, the journey so far. In your estimation, you've seen it all. I mean, you've been with the customs for several decades. Tell us, how far have we come?
Okay, let me first indicate that clearance, of goods has spanned several decades, in the annals of customs history. And from the early 30s, where clearance was all manual and entailed a lot of paperwork. Our first efforts at computerization started with the automated system for customs data, which we all knew then as ASICUDA. It was an initiative of the United Nations Committee on Trade and Development, and that started in the 90s. That was when we introduced some form of automation, data collection and data gathering, and the use of data in customs clearance processes. That went until 2000 when the government introduced the Ghana Customs Management System together with the Ghana Community Network, where, our first real main, efforts at, automating all our systems went into motion. And then we were given an opportunity to have freight forwarders and customs interact through electronic means. In 2015, the government introduced what you know as the Ghana Single Window, or the Pre-Arrival Assessment Reporting System, which was, also part of the automation drive, where we now had to submit electronic trade documents through the portals of the freight forwarders for customs to assess and determine the taxes that are exigible. Okay? And then shortly thereafter, in 2017, under the initiative of His Excellency the Vice President, we ventured into the paperless process system, where we now had an integration of all major stakeholders in the port community come together to submit documents and share data electronically. And the intention of the paperless system was to reduce paper trails and paper activity, and also ease the cost and time of doing business. And shortly thereafter, the integrated customs management system was added as an improvement and a drive to make Ghana the first choice of a business and trade facilitation destination. Now, the integrated customs management system started, activities right from March of 2020 at selected frontier stations. And then in April, it was moved to the airport. And then by May, petroleum activities and customs was also onboarded in the integrated customs management system. And then finally, in June of 2020, the ICOMS was rolled out in Tema, which is the mainstay of customs operations, and then Jamestown and other customs offices nationwide. So thus far, this is how the journey to improve and make Ghana a trade destination has come.
Right. Yeah. I will come to you again with, we used to have these destination inspection companies. We can mention Gateway Services, we can mention BVAC, we can mention Ghana Link, and a host of others. I think there were about 5 or 6 DI companies, and they gave way. That was when, if I get it right, West Blue was coming into the system.
Yeah, that's 2015.
Yes. So you juxtapose the period or the era of these DI companies and what we're having currently, and you think that we've progressed enough?
Certainly. The DICs were... I think they started operations just about 2000, thereabouts, and they were to provide a basis for valuation and classification of imports and other goods. But the traditional responsibility of every customs administration has been in the area of classification and valuation. Right. It's the core mandate of customs, and in the wisdom of government, this mandate had to be ceded back to customs. That was why in 2015 the introduction of the PAARS, came on.
Right.
Yes.
All right. Mr. Yauche, you have been a freight forwarder for more than 30 years, right?
Yes.
And you have seen it all from the start, how things were, and how we're operating now. Can you give us a chronology of how things have been in terms of clearing goods in the ports?
Thank you very much. In terms of clearing goods at the ports, just as Mr. Ohina just enumerated, from the manual system up to the ICOM system, there's been a great difference. I remember very much during the manual systems, you need a calculator in your office, you need a draft copy, you have to these things are handwritten. Yeah. You just copy it on your declaration, photocopy. You give it to your secretary, she types it out. Yeah. Then you have to do the calculations yourself, carry the documents to the long room. Wow. You have to go and queue. Because of the nature of the work, you need to go and queue, make payments at the bank, and go through compliance, and from one desk to another. After it's gone through, the custom officers also have to go through with their pen and paper. They have to be checking whether it's correct or wrong, and which gives room to a lot of errors. From there, at times you even have to wait on some messengers to be carrying documents from one point to another. Immediately you do the presentations, customs takes charge of the documents, and therefore it shouldn't come back to you again. Right. So from one desk to another, it has to be carried over by a messenger. And at times, your speed would have to depend on the efficiency of the messenger, whether he's even ready to move on at that time or not. So I remember very well at the long room, you need to wait at times 1 o'clock, 1:30 after a break before the messenger would have to carry about 200 documents to outdoor. So even if you finish your documentation, even at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, you have to wait for the messenger to carry the documents to outdoor. And at times you even need to provide transport for the messenger to carry the documents to outdoor. When you go to the outdoor, to a lot of physical manual documentation, also have to go through what we call the London account. To read the London account, you have to write seen and identified and all that. It really took a long time. If my mind serves me right, I think that we were able to clear goods after 1 week. You'll be lucky to have gone through such a system. At times, you may even go there, your documents are even missing. Aside that, it gave room to manipulations by our own people. You can just go and sit somewhere and change figures on a document after it has gone through. And it was very difficult for these customs officers and other agencies even to know that what you've done is not correct. Then we moved on to the Sikuda, the semi-automated system, which was quite an improvement upon what the manual system was giving us. But then there again, it was also open up to abuse and delay answers and here and there. Then we move on to a TradeNet, the GCNet system, which was quite a great improvement upon the previous system. Then the Vice President came in with the paperless system, and finally we are with ICOMS, which is, I would say that we are just getting to the end of it. Right. In terms of speed, in terms of ease of doing business and all that, the ICOM system is definitely one of the best that at least you've gotten up to now. I hope and pray that we will get a system better than ICOMS. But then for now, I think that we are really getting somewhere, especially as compared to the previous systems.
Yes. All right, Mr. Ohene, he mentioned the long room, and I remember in 1996 when I completed senior secondary school and I was coming to Accra, my uncle was in the long room, Peter Bakufa, and he said, when I get to Tema, I should say I'm coming to the long room. I began to imagine, what kind of long room is it? How long is it that? So he said, I said, how long is the room, you know? And then eventually we all got to know what the long room has been. And we understand, because of automation, because of, digitization, the long room has been demystified. We no longer have the long room. Do we have it?
No, we don't.
Okay. So how would you say we've leveraged on technology to ease the clearance of goods in the ports?
Thank you, Ken. Just as I mentioned earlier, from the evolution that, I spelled out recently, I think that IT has driven positive change in the way we do business, both from the end of the freight forwarder and from customs. We now virtually work, through exchange of data between freight forwarders, customs, and all the allied stakeholders at the ports in the area of release from the shipping lines, in the area of customs processes, even in the area of payment of revenue at the banks. These are all now IT-driven. So certainly technology has come a long way to improve the way we do business at the ports today.
Absolutely. Yes. Mr. Yauchi,
yes.
Would you say we have seamless clearance of cargo at the ports as of today?
As of today,
you would also have to tell us how many days it used to take you to clear your goods, and what the situation is at the moment.
Yes, I would say that we have quite a smooth flow of processing at the port now. For example, you can put in your declaration even far ahead of time before the vessel arrives. You can even go ahead and even effect duty payments far ahead of the arrival of the vessel. I remember those days, the manual system, you dare not go and pay duties before the vessel arrives. But now, you can do that.
Why was that?
Well, people were taking advantage of the rate of exchange, the rate changing at those times, and also taking advantage of so many other things at that time. Yes, but now you can even put in the declaration far ahead of time.
Okay.
Now, when you put in a declaration or you put in your documents at CTSB, now it takes just a day or two, then you are out. Fortunately, compliance is even out. So just if your documents have been assessed and have been approved and you're happy with your values given, you can just go ahead and even effect payment. Even if the vessel has not arrived, you can do the pre-manifest, or even if a vessel arrives, you can match your documents and go ahead and do the clearance of your goods. So it looks like even on the very same day that the vessel arrives and you match your documents, you should be able to clear the consignment at the port.
Wow. The same day?
The same day. It's possible.
Wow.
It's possible. Within 4 hours, you should be able to clear your documents, clear your goods at the port. Now, again, depending on the consignment, I would say that it's between 4 hours and 24 hours.
Right.
24 hours before, because you may even go through with your documentations, pay your shipping line charges, might have released from the shipping line. But then GPHA, at times, in most cases, Golden Jubilee, would ask you to deposit your documents 24 ahead, at least 24 hours ahead of time. So you need to deposit your documents overnight.
Right.
And that is a great setback to us now.
Okay. Because of the 24-hour.
Because of the 24-hour
deposit you make.
Yes.
Why?
Why? Because they say they need time to plan how to unstuff the container or position the container for you to come and work on.
Okay.
As compared to MPS, they work 24 hours, even throughout the night. And I must also say that we must congratulate MPS for even working 24 hours. Now you can work from 6 a.m. to 6 a.m.
Okay.
Yesterday, for example, we cleared goods at 12 midnight. Wow. So you can schedule yourself in such a way that at any point in time during the day, your staff can go and do clearance of goods, which is another great feat on part of the system now.
Right.
But for DPHA holding us back on this, that you need to deposit your documents 24 hours, I would have said that, yes, we have, to a very large extent.
Don't you think that there's good reason for that? Because they don't want...
There could equally be good reasons for MPS also to say that. But we need to move on. The MPS came after GPHA. So why is MPS doing it, and why can't GPH also do the same thing?
Okay.
Everybody can give reasons why you can't do it within 4 hours, 3 hours.
We'll raise this issue with the appropriate authorities and let them give us some responses.
Yes, I think aside that the system is quite good. In terms of automation, you can even sit in your house and even effect payments of duties. You can release your goods from the shipping lines. That's also another thumbs up for the shipping lines. They are doing extremely well. You don't even need time. You don't need even to go there. You just even effect payments. You can even pay by Momo. That's either on phone, either Vodafone, MTN, or which other platform that you may have. MPS, for example, you can also even sit in the comfort of your house or even in the office and effect payments. Again, GPHA, you have to go in with your checks or with your money, cash, before you can pay. They don't have that platform as at now. GPHA is still, so to a very large extent, GPHA is still holding us back
onto the free flow of clearing process.
You need to. You have to pay in check or in cash.
Yes.
Okay. What would you have preferred?
Oh,
electronic payment?
Electronic payment, yes. Okay. That's the trend now. Okay. All the shipping lines are doing it. MPS is doing this. Most of the GRA is also doing it. Why can't GPHA do the same?
Yes, I think that GPHA is going to go that way. The last time, 2 weeks ago, when Madam Esther Jebidonko featured on this show, she mentioned it. GPHA is going to go e-payment.
E-payment,
yes.
As at now?
Yes, they are going to go e-payment. Yes. I think they've even started some piloting.
We can't wait for them to.
So it will come. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. So GPHA will deal with that.
I saw that the system at the port is quite smooth. Customs is doing extremely well. When it comes to risk management, yes, we have the green, the yellow, and the red. Green, they allow you to go through without any examination. So once in a while, they may also ask you to, for reasons of intelligence or reasons best known to them, they will ask you to go and unstuff the goods,
right,
which also inhibits free flow of information at times. Some of them abuse it. Yes, you may not have to go in for red, or you can let the goods go out without necessarily asking for physical examination, but then for one reason or two, for some reasons best known to them, they may ask you to do that. And aside that, I think the system is quite good. Okay. And we've reduced physical examination to quite a very large extent.
That's what I was going to come to, but I'll come to you with that, and whether that has helped, whether you are cool with the reduction in the number of agencies that were involved in the physical inspection of goods at the ports. And let me come to Mr. Emmanuel Ohene. Do we have seamless cargo clearance at the ports? Because everything in terms of clearance seems to be within the domain of customs.
Yes, we do. But just as Yao Che has explained, it's important that we understand that customs is not the only player in the port clearance arena. Okay, we have several stakeholders whose activities impinge on how goods are cleared from the port. Now, customs has introduced the ICOMS, which has integrated virtually all the systems together to ensure that there is a seamless, chain in the clearance processes. But having, this, at the back of our minds, we should bear in mind that there are other stakeholders. You have, just like Yao Che was explaining, GPHA. I would not, speak on that because I am not. I do not have enough.
The 24-hour.
I do not have enough facts, available to speak to that. But I am happy it is coming from a stakeholder who is a major player in the port operations. So indeed, the system is facilitated a seamless process for clearing goods at the ports.
Right.
Admittedly, we still have a few challenges. The introduction of any new system is actually to encourage compliant trade. Let's always bear that in mind. And where we have, non-compliance, we should not expect that it will be seamless. One of the challenges we had with the introduction of the ICOMS, and we still are resolving it, had to do with change management. Okay, and then we had serious challenges again with data migration from the, legacy systems. Fortunately, the migration is being completed. Again, with the change management, we still are in the process of conscientizing all the stakeholders, most especially, customs and the trading public. I must admit that the input from the freight forwarding fraternity is tremendous and really overwhelming. They are grasp and understanding of the systems that are in place now. I mean, it's just so impressive. And we need to, acknowledge that and say it, that, with the change management, they are also, playing their role in getting, the rollout perfected. However, we have some delays in approvals from some NDAs and,
cargo ministries, departments, and agencies.
Yes,
MDAs,
and then some, cargo movement, some delays that we encounter in the cargo movement chain. These are all work in progress. We hope that, we'll iron out in the very, 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 very near future, so that our dream of having 100% seamless clearance, can be attained.
All right. So you mentioned the issue of non-compliance. Would you want to be explicit on what some of the issues are?
Well, you have misdescription under declaration, coming from the trading public. And when these things happen, they impede the smooth flow, because customs will now have to, implement issues that have to do with ensuring that the revenue that would otherwise have been, lost is recovered. And so when these things do happen, you would not, expect that you brought in your cargo, you can take it out immediately, because now you'll have to process what you call a customs offense report to enable you recover the revenue that has been lost. Again, with issues of not presenting the appropriate trade documents, not obtaining the right licenses, permit certificates, these all, go a long way in affecting compliance, in clearing goods at the port. Yeah.
All right. Mr. Che, the issue of cutting down of the various agencies that used to conduct physical inspection of goods, it's come down.
No, it
isn't that something you appreciate?
No, it hasn't come down. I think we have just about the same level of agencies still there. We still have the BNI. BNI must say that are not visibly seen there. In fact, BNI, they are doing quite a professional job, and you don't even see them. You don't even feel their presence here unless there's something happening. National security, you see them visibly all over. National security, you see them visibly all over, part of examinations. I think that some time ago, when the Vice President made some of these changes, we were made to understand that national security was to do some sort of undercover surveillance and intelligence work, and that they should not even be seen. I mean, national security, our understanding of national security is that they normally even don't put on their uniforms as compared to the military, customs, and others. Then they should be working behind the scenes and looking out for some misdeeds or some wrong things before they even come out, especially when it comes to things that may affect the security of the nation. But then we see them all over, and at times they come in and stop movement of goods, which we believe that it should have been the preserve of customs. At least even when they suspect there's something going on wrong, we're not saying that when you see anything going on wrong, stand aloof and don't see anything. When something going on wrong, they should hand over to customs. But then no, sometimes they stop, they seize the goods and they try to do the calculations themselves, which is also a
You mean the national security?
Yes.
So they are perhaps usurping the powers of customs, who are supposed to be doing these calculations and taking the monies into the kitty.
Well, so that's another area we are quite worried, and we have had discussions with our members, and that's an area we are very, very, very worried as at now. We still have the JCPU, what do they call them? The Joint Port Control Unit, they are still there. The PCA are also still there. The preventive, we still have them there. We have Customs Intelligence Unit also still there. Yes, all these agencies are there.
Yeah. So how do they impede, or how do they impact the clearance, the fluid flow
they
of cargo?
For example, when it's time for examination, even if either green or especially the red under examination, intrusive examination. After examination, they may not be there. They may also come there for the examination to be conducted. After all things have been done and you have your clearance from same customs at the gate, they jump in. No, we don't think the duties you paid is enough, or we suspect something wrong with it.
Right.
Therefore, go back or stay the next day or next 2 days. In some cases, they don't find anything.
Yes.
But I must also admit that under some circumstances, they find things that might have gone wrong. Either the customs officer was not smart enough to have seen those things, or they might have colluded with the agent to let the consignment go on. So once in a while, they make a justification for they being there. But then I think that plus or minus, they are rather impeding clearance of goods at the port. Yes.
Very well. This is Metro TV, and you're watching Eye on Port here. Tonight we are discussing the journey so far in terms of Ghana's quest to ensure seamless clearance of cargo at the ports. I'm discussing the issues with Mr. Emmanuel Ohene, who is the Deputy Commissioner of the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority in charge of the sustenance regimes, and also he's the Chairman of the ICOMS Implementation Committee. Also to my right is Mr. Yao Che, who is the president of the Association of Customs House Agents Ghana, ACHAG. He is also the Chief Executive Officer of Integral Freight Services. I understand pretty shortly we are most likely to get a response for you in terms of the issues you raised with GPHA. And so, I mean, they are trying to work out the lines to see if we can get the appropriate authority to speak to these issues.
I'll be very glad.
And all that. And remember, viewers, you can get interactive with us via WhatsApp line, which is 055 9019 177 0559 019 177. I understand we have a lot of WhatsApp messages that have come through, and so pretty shortly we shall be going to pick that. But let me still remain with you, Mr. Yauche. Mr. Emmanuel Henny mentioned the element of non-compliance and the invoicing and all those things. And you are freight forwarders. How are you helping the system to ensure that indeed our vision as a country of ensuring seamless cargo clearance at the ports is realized?
Yes, and the invoicing is one of the greatest problems that is facing our industry. And I must also say that we've come a long way as at now. We've made so much progress, and I must also say that that could even be one of the reasons why Customs was even bold enough to have even scrapped compliance. But at least there was a level of compliance amongst the industry, so that there wasn't too much risk. But then, at the same time, and again, the benchmark values introduced by Customs too has also really helped in the under-invoicing, misclassification, and all that. At the same time, we must admit that some of our members are also involved in some of these things, and that once in a while, we may also call Customs to put in some measures that may impede the free flow of clearance at the port. But then, it's not been something so significant as at now that we could say that that's one of the major issues that is even impeding progress or impeding clearance at the port. It's been something that we worked on very much. The freight forwarders have also even formed an association, Committee of Freight Forwarders Association, COFA. We have come together, and we are also monitoring our members. And anybody who is involved in some of these things, we sanction them. We have had a few cases that we've been bold enough to sanction them. And I think that has also brought some sanity into the system. And I'm proud to say that as compared to previous years when the clearing agent here, 2,500,000 and all that, all these practices have gone down. And the education and understanding is coming up. And I must say that it is not a major factor when it comes to free flow of clearance processes at the port. Yes.
Okay. Mr. Ohene, let me ask you, how far have we come with the paperless port project?
Well, thank you again, Ken. The paperless port processes were...
Okay.
The process was...
Sorry, I will not cut you. Welcome. You take that, you give us that response. But I understand we have Madam Esther Jebidonko right on the line. She's the General Manager in charge of Marketing and Corporate Affairs at the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Yes, I know you are monitoring us and you would want to provide some answers to what the issues raised by Mr. Che. You may go ahead, please.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, and good evening, the panelists and your viewers. I have to clarify that Mr. Yauche made on the fact that they have to deposit for 24 hours before they are able to work, and which is being compared to what is happening at MPS. The difference is that with MPS, the taking place there is house to house, and the level of examination is not equal to what we do at Golden Jubilee Terminal. What we need now is the red panel and inclusive examination. So what we do is that if you are able, as an agent, if you are able to process in good time in the morning, we are supposed to deliver to you that same day. But it's the case where you have agents coming in the afternoon, you to position the container, open on everything, and put on the ground for officers and the other agencies and do the examination. And then they go and release up the release before you load all the cargo back on the truck before they go through the rest of the process to go. That of the time we at the late, sometimes 8, sometimes 8:30. And what we are going to do this full on staffing, you have to plan with resources like labor and then equipment. If the you are going to handle, you are to plan with the labor that is required. But and somebody and working around 3 o'clock and would want to take delivery of that container, you to labor because you pay for them and they come and wait around you. Those are the issues. So, to direct, compare it with what is happening at MPS. The content delivered at MPS, it goes through the scan. They don't even open to do any examination. There with all documentation in place, they deliver to you. Up to the 24 hours, we also apply to customs to approve that for us so that we can also start doing the 24 hours on our terminal. So that is being worked on. But now we don't have the 24 hours provision. It is difficult to have all the containers worked on the same day. So as and when the agent is able to pay in the morning, we are able to deliver on that day. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Madam Esther Jebidonko. She is the General Manager in charge of Marketing and Corporate Affairs at the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Mr. Che, you heard her. She says sometimes they would also have to apply to customs to give them that opportunity to in order to be able to deal with this situation. And what transpires on GPHA in her earlier submission, she said was they do house to house. I heard that, and GJT they don't do that.
Well, so, I couldn't hear it very well, but then at least at MPS, we also have those items that go through the red. Mm-hmm. We do intrusive examinations at MPS. Oh, they do that. They have about 80 bays. That we even think that it's not even enough. We are asking that they increase the base. So we'll be able to do examinations and get the goods out early. We do examinations at MPS, and we're able to come out the same day. They work 24 hours, which I'm not sure GPHA works 24 hours.
Well, I think
my argument is that they may have their own problems, but at the same time, we also expecting the maximum level of services at the port.
I like the customs bit because she says they would have to apply to customs to give them that opportunity. That's how come that 24-hour element arises, and I think that she says it's something they have dealt with, and so I'm sure that going forward. Things will be smooth.
We can't wait for the day for GPHA to work it 7 as 24 hours.
Mr. Chen, sorry, Mr. Ohene, sorry I cut you in, but we're discussing paperless port and how far we've come with it.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. I was explaining earlier that our efforts at going paperless dates back to the early 90s when we introduced the Asikuda. It was on a very limited scale until 2002 when GCNet, that's the Ghana Customs Management System, together with the Ghana Community Network, was introduced. Here again, there was some form of exchange of data electronically. And until 2015 when the Ghana Trade Hub, together with the pre-arrival assessment reporting came in, we now saw a very measured form of paperless because you now had to submit your trade documents electronically in order to obtain what then was a customs classification and valuation report. You didn't have to present hard copy of documents to any customs office to process, any valuation or classification report. So this was also, some aspect of the paperless that was, ongoing. And when the Vice President, introduced the real paperless in 2017 now, we had all the major players, all the stakeholders now having an integrated, form of exchange of data. And so you could now submit and receive information and data electronically. And this was what led to the collapse of the compliance unit, like you rightly said, at the long room in 2015. So the compliance activities now were relocated to the head office, where they now worked, in an environment which was devoid of paper submission. And so the paperless, in 2017, sought to create that, environment where we only had to, exchange data through electronic means. Now, what the ICOMS has sought to do is to build upon the introduction of the paperless in 2017. And in the ICOMS now, just like, my brother rightly said, you can now make payments, electronically. You can obtain advice and for, examination and bills from the shipping lines, all, without recourse to submitting paper. So indeed, the paperless process at the ports have really come very, very far.
All right, so there are some messages that have come through via WhatsApp line. The first one says, good evening to you all. Please, my questions are, 1, in ensuring seamless process in clearing goods at the ports, how flexible is ICOMS at the expense of GCNet in respect of 1, amendment process, B, short shipment procedures, and C, wrong tallying by port clerks? Now, 2, with respect to income generation and less leakages to government, will you consider ICOMS or GCNet? That's from somebody. The name isn't there. I wish the fellow had added the name.
I would wish you can repeat the points. I had amendments.
Yes, the fellow says, in ensuring seamless process in clearing goods at the ports, how flexible is ICOMS at the expense of GCNet in respect of 1, amendment process,
yes.
2, short shipment procedures, and 3, wrong tallying by port clerks? And there's a second tier of the question. It says, with respect to income generation and less leakages to the government, will you consider ICOMS or GCNet?
Okay. I suppose that Yauche has virtually answered most of these questions in his earlier presentation, but I'd just like to reiterate the fact that all the questions he's raised on amendment process, short shipment and wrong tallying, they have been factored and provisioned in the ICOMS to be managed in the system. So indeed, amendment processes, short shipment and wrong tallies, they are actually, an integral part of the ICOMS. And in his question about GCMS vis-a-vis
ICOMS vis-a-vis GCNet,
in revenue generation, I do not have the figures offhand here, but I think that the records can bear itself out that with the introduction of ICOMS, government saw a marked improvement in revenue generation.
Okay. Yeah. All right. This one says, hi, Iron Port. The risk selectivity, especially for green, is not respected by most officers at MPS. In fact, most agents now despise green because of the rampant interference by national security and so-called tagging officers at the port. Irrespective of the fact that the green allows cargo to move seamlessly out of the port, some officers and national security rampantly interfere with the clearance by stopping containers for re-examination. It must stop. This one's coming from Romeo Frimpong. Also, I've seen a name there. That's a forwarder who has sent in this one. And this message also says, good evening, Iron Port. What shall it profit Ghanaians if they pay customs duties electronically on the Ghana.gov, get an official GRA receipt in ICOMS, but DVLA refuses to accept the receipts and rather insists and demand EcoBank or GCB stamped receipts? Really very frustrating. We implore Mr. Ohene and his team to urgently do something about that. This one is from Ohima in Tema. And this one still from Mr. Ohima. It says, yes, to add to Mr. Yauche on the stakeholders holding us back, I think Seaborne Car Terminal is worth mentioning as they have been slow in improvements, e.g. still writing manual waybill and very dusty grounds. Sometimes I pity the makers who have, the markers, who have to wallow in it all day, every working day. Who knows what health implications that must have brought to some already. And this one is from Mukhtar, who's also a freight forwarder. He says, great show, I must say, and the new ICOM system is perfect and very efficient, but all the green regimes are tagged at MPS. Please ask Mr. Ohene why. So they are listening.
Okay.
They have green, green channel. We all know that no examination. It passes through the system. I mean, nobody checks it. But they say it is tagged, every green system, and they are complaining.
I want to say that we are not oblivious of this concern, because your chair has already mentioned it. And from the feedback we are receiving from our listeners, it is certainly a matter of concern. That notwithstanding, we introduced 3 tiers of risk management. Originally, we actually introduced 4. We had the green, which is, non-examination, the yellow, which is scanning, and that's non-intrusive examination, the red, which is, mandatory examination, and originally we had the blue, which was supposed to be for post-clearance. It has not been activated as we speak. We need to bear in mind that apart from customs, activities at the port, there are other, national security stakeholders. When I said national, I'm not referring to National Security Council or National Security. There are national security stakeholders who also have information which customs might not be privy to, in wanting to, conduct an examination on, a consignment that has been marked green. Okay, and so when these things do happen, it is not within the ambit of customs to say that it is green, so we should let it go. Because the information the other agencies have, they might not have shared it with customs for us, to have a joint examination. But having said all this, there are challenges that are very real, and I think that we will not just, sweep them under the carpet. So we would, following, these discussions, take these things up at a higher level and see how best, we can make our dream of attaining, less levels of examination very possible. So we take these concerns into consideration.
Okay.
I think that just when I had the invitation to attend this meeting,
yes,
I had some discussions with various freight forwarders, and I think this is of great concern to all of us.
Okay.
The motivation is not even there for you even to be channeled through the green again. Now, just after green, and you think that, oh, it's been slated for green, so I'm going home and sleep. Midnight, 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock, they may call you, oh, your goods have been slated for examination. But in most cases, I must say, let me quote unquote, I'll say it may not be justified.
Right.
As Mr. Ohene is saying, there will be some instances when they might have had some information behind the scenes that we may not be privy to. But then in most cases, it may be according to the sentiments of somebody or very subjective and wanting to see you and wanting to talk to you about why you should be there physically before the goods come out.
Right.
So I think that customs need to look at it again, because when somebody does anything wrong, or when some goods are slated for examination, red, I think we don't have a problem with it. We can go in for the examination, physical examination, we can waste more time. But then when by your own data, you know it's good, green, allow it to go. Sure. That's our argument. Allow it to go. Not that green, you still go in for examination, red, you do examination, yellow examination, then if you don't take care, eventually all will go in for examination. Even though goods on paper to be slated for green, all of them will go back for examination.
Right.
And MPS has about 80 bays. And this time the place is so congested because of some of these issues. So I think that we need to have a look at it again and see if we can talk to customs to allow green to go out as green.
Right.
And do the examination when it is possible. The DVLA issue, I think it's an issue too that we have also had complaints from our members. You go through the paperless. Everything goes through paperless, and you go to DVLA to go and do your registration. And they are asking that you bring a document well stamped and all that before they do the registration for you. It's not only DVLA, even the banks.
Yeah.
Even at banks, when our clients are doing transfers, some of them are still asking that bring a document with a customs stamp on it. The declarations should be stamped before they allow the transaction to go through. So I think that there are still some other agencies, yes, who are also not responding to the paperless system now.
Okay.
Can I just add that the ICOMS is still a work in progress.
Right.
And for some of these agencies that, are making some of these requests, we have not stopped with the training and the sensitization. And as we speak now, in the past week, we've had a lot of training in Tema, and we'll be extending a lot of the sensitization to other stakeholders as well, so that we will all be on the same page.
Right.
The issue I'd like to raise is, I would wish that, some of these concerns are not raised at fora like this, but our attention is drawn to these concerns immediately they arise, so that we can, find a proper way of, addressing them. The issue of the DVLA receipts acceptance from only EcoBank and GCB, we would certainly take it up.
Right.
But I think some of it has to do with more of stakeholder engagement and an understanding of, where we are going.
Right.
Yeah.
So we can dedicate some 10 minutes to picking your phone calls if you are watching us. The number to call is 020-552-8353. 020-552-8353. We're glad to pick your calls, and my guests would be answering your questions, and whatever contributions you want to make, you can as well let us have it. Mr. Ohene, this message goes to you. He said, I would like to bring to the notice of Mr. Ohene that most of the customs outdoor operations at the long room still remain paper-based. What's being done about it? E.g., for a free zone inbound clearance, documents have to be submitted in hard copies to the officers in the long room for what they call validation, while same is available to them in the system. So they have the soft copy, but they demand the hard copy.
I just explained to you that in the past week, we've just, set up camp in Tema, the ICOMS team. And I explained earlier that we still have a lot of work, in progress.
Yeah.
And the officers are receiving more training and more sensitization on why there is the need to allow, the paperless system to work. We have, as a team from ICOMS, received such, complaints about some officers making demands and requests for paper, and we have drawn a 2 weeks program, which started last week Monday, that is ongoing as we speak, to ensure that the officers understand the dynamics of, where we intend to be with our paperless and trade facilitation efforts.
Right.
So some of these things, you will see a marked improvement in the coming days.
Okay,
Yeah.
fantastic. Right. Here we have Zachary from Ashaman on the line. Hello, good evening, Zachary.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good evening.
Good evening, and thanks for calling in.
Yeah, I'm speaking from Ashaman.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm an agent. My main concern is with this thing, DVLA. DVLA will insist that they want a stamped receipt of payment of duty from the bank, which in my view, I think it's something that we should address, because customs have a paperless system whereby when you pay a duty, now you can pay duty online, even on your phone, and then you bring the receipt from the system. So if someone goes to the DVLA to register his car, and then the customs officer can go into the system and see that duty has been paid because it reflects in the system with the custom official receipt, then you still insist that we should bring the bank stamped receipt. I think this is something that should be addressed, because it is bringing us a lot of problems. So please, I think they should address it. There's
All right.
a serious problem. Yes, we are really concerned about that.
Thank you very much indeed. I think Mr. Ohene has already addressed this issue. Says it's something they're going to take up at their level and then ensure to deal with. You can also give us a call. Our number is 020-552-8353, 020-552-8353, and we're glad to take your contributions. Mr. Ohene, let me come to you, and let's take a look at whether you are working in collaboration with other stakeholders or agencies to achieve this 4-hour target that was given by the Vice President some time ago. You realize he said it should be possible for importers, for clearing agents, for freight forwarders to clear their goods from the port within 4 hours.
Certainly. The whole objective of the trade facilitation effort is to ensure that we can save in the cost and time of doing business. And so we will not cease to ensure that, with all the major stakeholders, we can attain this. For instance, in the area of submission of...
Mr. Ohene,
yes.
Please hold your fire. Let me pick Hayford from Ashanti Bekwai, and then we'll come back and continue.
Cool.
Hello, Hayford. Good evening, sir.
Hi, sir.
Yes. Can you tell us what your issue is? Hello, Hayford. Hayford, are you there? All right, I think we are having issues with Hayford's line. Mr. Ohene, you may continue.
Yes, as I was saying, we have an integrated customs management system that is a platform that is being hooked to other stakeholders. In fact, it is known as a port community.
Right.
Okay, and so whatever affects A affects B, whatever affects B affects C. And what the final intention is to ensure that we all can function in a synergy that would ensure that we can have fast clearance. So the shipping lines are hooked to us, we are hooked to them. The freight forwarders are hooked to us, we are hooked to them. The banks are hooked, and we are hooked. So all the players in this industry are interlinked and interwoven to ensure that everyone is found and seen to be functioning in order to achieve the maximum benefits of what the system has to offer. We just to add to that, maybe to even go ahead. Indeed, the Vice President's desire and expectation was that with the introduction of the paperless, after 6 months, we should be able to clear within 4 hours.
Yes.
And Yao Che has already attested to the fact that people can clear within hours at the port. And that is actually happening as we speak today. Okay. So the 4 hour is possible, and it is happening.
Right.
If you want to look at the real, we have not had an opportunity to have a time release study to come out with the definitive issues that it is taking us
this number of hours
or 9. But the bottom line is that between 48 and 72 hours, as we speak now, you should be able to clear your items within the port.
Okay. Yes. All right. Solomon from Agwagwa, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead with the submission.
Yeah. I have 2 submissions to make. One is to recommend customs and icons for the work we are doing. Actually, we can see that icons has improved tremendously since implementation. So I would like to commend them for the good work they are doing. However, there's a little challenge that sometimes when you submit application, it is received and assigned verification, and it can remain at verification for about 48 hours without any progress if you view from your front end. So I will employ them to take immediate action and to treat our applications with all urgency that it needs. Secondly, I would like to add to those concerned about receipt that even during clearance, when you print your payment receipt from ICOMS, and you put on your declaration. For instance, you are clearing at the airport, you have your receipt printed from the system on your declaration. Customs rather prefer to work with the stamped receipt from the bank. We feel that it is equally important to have your receipt printed from ICON to be admitted for transaction, not the one from the bank, because it is viewed by all stakeholders, and customs can equally view from their end. So that is what I want to encourage customs to accept it, because it is in the interest of the agent to leave the stamped receipt from the bank in the office for accounting purposes. So I will employ customs to equally accept the receipt from the system when it is presented to them. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Solomon from Agogwa. We're grateful for your time. You can also give us a call. I think we're just going to take about our last caller, and then we will wrap up this discussion. But Mr. Ohene, you were on the issue of the 4 hours, and you said it's possible now between 48 hours and 72 hours for one to clear, his or her cargo from the ports. Absolutely. Mr. Auche, what are some of the difficulties you have in terms of challenges that has bedeviled the clearance chain? And what are some of the things that you think can be added to improve the system? Are there any recommendations you would want to make?
Yes. I think that as we indicated earlier on the examination teams.
Okay.
Which
I hear our last caller is on the line. Let's pick the last caller and then we'll come to you. Ohima from Tema, good evening. Hello, Ohima.
Yes. The journey so far, so far, so very good. But then on trade facilitation, I think that if we are able to get the images from the scan, MPS scan, to be transmitted to those in the ITDs like Jubilee, EDP, it will help. But you see, when you have green, those people with examination and all that, all things do this way. But here we are with trading from MPS or with MPS scan, we still have to open your container package. And that is not in the best interest of trade facilitation. So with ICOM, if that can be achieved, whereby images can be transmitted from MPS to the ITD, it will really be a great help. And it appears that the airport, look at the things that, paper-based. Every day you are something here and there, having to take paper and all that. So it looks like they are going 100% paperless for all exit and entry points. It should be the same, especially those in appliances. Thank you. Mr. We'd like to thank you for this question.
Okay. Oyema, I think your line was a bit cranky over there, but in all, I think that she says you guys are doing well, and maybe there's still need for you to do more. And she mentioned specific issues which I wasn't able to grasp properly because of the cranky nature of your line. But I think you picked some of them.
I picked one on the images and scan at the MPS, I think. Yeah. I must add that we actually completed, our integration with the scan, that is ICOMS and the scan, sometime last year, and just before the end of the last quarter of last year. Yeah. And we have a very collaborative effort with MPS and the team that is manning the scan at the MPS. And so most of what we're doing now is still a work in progress. Our intention is not to settle for mediocrity. And so everything that, is an issue of concern, most of them have already been identified. And we are doing everything and making every effort to ensure that, we can address them in the shortest possible time. So their concerns, though valid, they are all being addressed.
Right.
Thank you.
Mr. Che, yes, you were on some recommendations you would like to make to improve the clearance of goods at the ports.
One area we have been advocating is the synchronizing the working hours of the various terminals, shipping lines, and others. Yes. Now, luckily for us, Customs is working on virtually 24 hours, 7 days in a week. Of course, MPS too is about on the same line, but other agencies are not doing that. So it means that in some cases you'll be able to cover the full length. In other areas too, you can't do that. For example, a shipping line may close even at 3 o'clock on a Friday evening, and that ends the clearance process for you. We haven't released from the shipping line. It means that you have to wait till next Monday before you can start the process altogether. I think all these, when you put them together, when you want to check out the number of hours, average number of hours you can clear consignment, it will go against the targeted time. We've spoken about the risk management levels, and I'm very sure we would take it up since we've asked that it should be respected. The other issue we would like Customs also to do for us is to time the offices. At times, yes, the structures may be there, the processes may be there for all to obey. But then there are some individuals who may decide at times even to work at their own time. So you may have, for example, you may have a document on a table which may last as long as 2-3 hours without being attended to. We are hoping that Customs will have a look at this. I think it's been working at CTSB, and there's been a tremendous improvement in the time that these document assessments come out. But then at the port, we're still having challenges there.
Right.
So, if, for example, the document is in your name, has been transmitted to you at 4 p.m., we expect that within a reasonable time, you should be able to release the consignment instead of at times just sitting down, just not knowing what to do, and the agents to be there waiting on them.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
We also asking ICOMs, they are doing marvelously well. They are updating their systems from time to time. And we hoping that they would also involve us from time to time, organizing training sessions for us, so that we also get to know the updates that have been. At times you may not be aware that some of these updates have been done. These updates may be very good, maybe an improvement upon the previous.
Yeah.
But then at times you just open your system in the morning and you realize that, oh, there's been something quite new.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
but then we're hoping that we would also come the same level with them.
Right.
Yes.
Can I quickly respond to
okay.
just a few?
Please do.
Indeed,
Quickly.
My brother's points are very valid, but I'd like him to note that the ICOMS is introducing what you call a performance management module, which will be having KPIs and monitoring activities of officers, everywhere nationwide. It's actually a module that was part of the second phase of deployment. And so you will certainly, see that officers who, for no valid reasons, create delayances in assigned responsibilities will have, some sanctions that will be, imposed on them. The other issue has to do with involving the freight forwarders in the updates. We take note of that. It is important I mention that we actually have freight forwarders as part of the ICOMS team. And we have freight forwarders who are responsible for monitoring. There's a monitoring group from GIF that is reports to their team lead, who is a part of the ICOMS team, on challenges that they encounter at the port.
Right.
And this is brought to us to enable us address those challenges. So we take note of some of these things.
Very well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Ohene. I think we have barely 3 minutes to go, and I'll call for our international news. Remember, I promised you there's a story on the Suez Canal that you wouldn't want to miss. Let's pick that, and then when we come back, we'll wrap up.
Egypt will impound the giant container ship that blocked the Suez Canal last month until its Japanese owner pays $900 million in compensation. One of the Ever Given's insurers UK clubs said the Suez Canal Authority had rejected its offer to settle the claim. It's described the claim, which includes $300 million for a salvage bonus and $300 million for loss of reputation, as extraordinarily large and largely unsupported. The Ever Given is anchored in the Great Bitter Lake, the canal's midway point. Hutchison Port's Best, a semi-automated terminal, has welcomed LNG-powered vessel CMA CGM Scandola as the first container ship using LNG to arrive at the Port of Barcelona. At the Port of Barcelona, the event took place on 13th April 2021. CMA CGM Scandola is 366 meters long, 51 meters wide LNG-fueled vessel with a capacity of 14,820 foot equivalent units. The vessel was built in 2020 in response to the new IMO requirement for the energy transition in the maritime industry, named after the Scandola Nature Reserve in Corsica Island, Mediterranean Sea. In order to tackle the global shortage of cargo containers, German shipping major Hapag-Lloyd has placed an order for containers worth about $550 million. On top of the pandemic and delayed shipments due to port congestion, shippers and forwarders worldwide have had to cope with an added complication, which is a shortage of boxes to ship their goods. The fact is that because boxes are turning slower, shipping companies need more than the normal number of containers to carry the same volume. For this reason, Hapag-Lloyd has placed another big order for containers, just as it did in 2020 in its initial response to the pandemic. This is said to be one of the biggest container orders that Hapag-Lloyd has ever made.
saw that story where the Suez Canal authorities are asking for a compensation of $900 million. I mean, I don't know what to say about it, but I just feel that it's outrageous, honestly. So we're going to be wrapping up shortly. Mr. Ohene, just in brief 30 seconds, give us your last words, just briefly.
I'd like to say that the ICOMS has come to stay, and we want to make it a national asset that can be exported to other countries in the sub-region. In many instances where we've been to meetings at the World Customs Organization, some of the initiatives customs in Ghana has been able to present have been touted as best practices. Yeah. And it would need the collaborative effort of all of us stakeholders to ensure that this dream and this aspiration can be realized. And
fantastic.
So we are counting on everybody to ensure that we can get there.
Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Ohene. He is the Deputy Commissioner of the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority in charge of the customs regimes, and he's also the chairman of the ICOMS Implementation Committee. And Mr. Yauche is the president of the Association of Customs House Agents Ghana, ACHAG. He's also the CEO of Integral Freight Services. Thank you very much indeed, gentlemen, for joining us tonight for Eye on Port. Please do make a date with us next week for another wonderful edition. My name is Kennedy Mona, and have a good evening.